There's nothing more frustrating than getting into your car, turning the key, or pressing the start button and hearing nothing. Or maybe just a weak click, no engine roar, no movement, just silence. And in that moment, your mind races. Is it the battery? Is it the alternator? Or is it something worse? For millions of drivers, the real culprit is hiding in plain sight, the engine starter. It's one of the most overlooked parts of your car, yet it plays a critical role every single time you drive. And when it starts to fail, it doesn't always go out with a bang. Sometimes it whispers, subtle signs, strange sounds, delays, and if you ignore those symptoms, you could end up stranded or paying for repairs that could have been avoided. In this video, we're breaking down the 10 real-world symptoms of a bad car engine starter. Not vague guesses, not random guesses. These are the actual signs mechanics see every day, and the ones drivers experience before their starter gives out completely. Let's dive in. Symptom 1, the click that tells a story. You turn the key or press the button, and instead of the engine firing up, you hear a single click, or maybe a series of rapid clicks. That sound isn't just annoying, it's diagnostic. Here's what's happening. The starter motor is supposed to engage with the engine's flywheel and spin it fast enough to start combustion. But when the starter is failing, it might not have the strength or the electrical connection to do that. The clicking sound is often the solenoid trying to engage, but failing to send enough power to the motor. Now, here's the twist. A weak battery can cause the same sound. So how do you know it's the starter and not the battery? Simple. If your lights, radio, and dashboard electronics are working fine, but the engine won't turn over, the battery is probably okay. That points the finger at the starter, and if the clicking becomes more frequent or starts happening randomly, that's your car begging you to take action, because once the starter fully dies, that click will disappear, and so will your ability to drive. Symptom 2, slow cranking or no cranking at all. Let's say you do hear the engine trying to start, but it's sluggish. It cranks slowly, like it's struggling to wake up. Or worse, it doesn't crank at all. This is one of the clearest signs of a starter that's on its last legs. A healthy starter should spin the engine quickly and consistently, but when the internal components, like the brushes, armature, or solenoid, start to wear out, the motor loses torque. It can't spin fast enough, and that slow crank becomes a warning sign. In some cases, the starter might work intermittently. One day, it starts fine. The next day, it's dead. That inconsistency is a classic symptom of internal wear or electrical failure inside the starter. And here's the emotional angle. This symptom often shows up at the worst possible time. Early morning, late night, in a parking lot, when you're already late. That's why recognizing it early matters, because replacing a starter proactively is way cheaper and less stressful than waiting until you're stranded. Symptom 3, smoke or burning smell. During start attempts, this one's dramatic and dangerous. If you ever see smoke coming from under the hood when you try to start the car or smell something burning, stop immediately. A failing starter can overheat, especially if you keep trying to start the car over and over again. When the starter motor draws too much current or the internal wiring shorts out, it can generate heat. That heat can melt insulation, damage nearby wires, or even cause a fire in extreme cases. The smoke might come from the starter itself or from the battery cables connected to it. And the smell? It's usually burnt plastic or rubber, a clear sign that something electrical is going wrong. This symptom isn't just about inconvenience, it's about safety. If you ever experience it, don't try to start the car again. Get it towed, get it inspected, because the damage could spread beyond the starter, affecting your battery, alternator, or even your fuse box. Symptom 4, grinding noise during startup. Imagine this. You turn the key, and instead of a smooth engine start, you hear a harsh grinding noise, like metal scraping against metal. That sound isn't just unpleasant, it's mechanical failure in action. Here's what's happening. The starter motor has a gear called the pinion gear. When you start the car, this gear meshes with the engine's flywheel to spin it. But if the gear is worn out, misaligned, or not engaging properly, it grinds against the flywheel teeth. That grinding noise means the gear teeth are slipping, or worse, getting chewed up. And if you ignore it, you could end up damaging the flywheel itself. That's a much more expensive repair than just replacing the starter. Sometimes the grinding only happens occasionally. Other times it gets worse with each start. Either way, it's a symptom you can't afford to ignore, because once those teeth are gone, your engine won't start at all. Symptom 5, starter stays on after engine starts. This one's rare, but serious. Normally, once your engine starts, the starter disengages automatically. It's done its job, but in some cases, a faulty starter keeps running even after the engine is on. You'll hear a strange whining or spinning noise that doesn't stop. It might sound like the engine is still cranking, even though it's already running. That's a sign the starter relay or solenoid is stuck, and if it stays engaged, it can damage the starter motor, the flywheel, or even the engine itself. This symptom is often caused by electrical issues, like a stuck relay, a short circuit, or a faulty ignition switch. But the result is the same. The starter keeps spinning when it shouldn't. If you ever notice this happening, turn off the engine immediately, because the longer the starter runs, the more damage it causes. And unlike other symptoms, this one can escalate fast. Symptom 6, dashboard lights flicker or dim during startup. You turn the key and for a split second your dashboard lights flicker or go dim. Then the engine hesitates. Maybe it starts, maybe it doesn't. This symptom is subtle, but it's a powerful clue. When a starter begins to fail, it can draw excessive current from the battery. That sudden surge can cause your dashboard lights to flicker or dim temporarily. It's like the starter is hogging all the power, leaving the rest of your car gasping for electricity. This symptom often gets misdiagnosed as a battery issue, and to be fair, a weak battery can cause similar behavior. But here's the difference. If your battery is healthy and fully charged, and you still see flickering lights during startup, the starter may be the one misbehaving. It's a symptom that shows up more often in colder weather, when electrical systems are under stress, and it's one of those signs that drivers tend to ignore until the starter fails completely. Symptom 7, intermittent starting. It works until it doesn't. This one drives people crazy. One day your car starts perfectly, the next day it's dead, then it starts again, then it doesn't. It's unpredictable, and that unpredictability is a classic sign of a starter that's failing internally. Inside the starter motor, there are electrical contacts and moving parts that wear down over time. Sometimes they make a clean connection, other times they don't. That's why the car starts one day and refuses the next. This symptom is especially common in older vehicles or those with high mileage, and it's deceptive because when the car does start, you think the problem is gone, but it's not. It's lurking, waiting to fail when you least expect it. Mechanics often call this the ghost symptom because it comes and goes, but if you've experienced it more than once, it's time to get your starter tested before it ghosts you for good. Symptom 8, unusual whirring or spinning, sounds without cranking. You turn the key, and instead of the engine cranking, you hear a high-pitched whirring sound. No engine movement, just a spinning noise. That sound is the starter motor spinning freely, without engaging the engine. This happens when the starter's pinion gear fails to mesh with the flywheel. The motor itself is working, but it's not doing its job. It's like a bicycle pedal spinning without turning the wheel. This symptom can be caused by a worn-out gear, a faulty solenoid, or even a misaligned starter, and it's dangerous because the starter is running but the engine isn't. That can lead to overheating, electrical damage, or even flywheel wear. If you hear this sound, stop trying to start the car. Repeated attempts can make the problem worse. Get it inspected, because once the gear fails completely, the starter won't even spin. Symptom 9, starter engages but engine doesn't start. This one's tricky. You hear the starter working, it's spinning, it's cranking, but the engine doesn't start. No ignition, no combustion, just endless cranking. This symptom can be caused by several things: fuel issues, ignition problems, or even a bad sensor. But if everything else checks out and the starter is cranking without results, it could be a sign of weak torque. A failing starter might spin the engine, but not fast enough to trigger ignition. Modern engines require a minimum RPM to start combustion. If the starter can't reach that speed, the engine won't fire. This symptom is often misdiagnosed, but if your fuel system, spark plugs, and sensors are all working and the engine still won't start, it's time to look at the starter's performance, because cranking isn't enough. You need power. Symptom 10, loud bang or pop during startup. This one's rare, but alarming. You turn the key, and instead of a smooth start, you hear a loud bang or pop. It might sound like a backfire, or like something snapped. In some cases, a failing starter can cause timing issues during ignition. If the starter engages erratically or delays the crank, it can throw off the engine's timing. That can lead to misfires, or even backfires. The bang might also come from a broken starter gear or a damaged flywheel tooth. Either way, it's a sign that something mechanical has gone wrong. If you ever hear this sound during startup, don't ignore it. It's not normal, and it's not safe. Get your car inspected immediately, because the damage could be deeper than just the starter. If this video helped you decode your car's behavior, give it a like. It tells the algorithm this content matters. Subscribe for more practical car care that actually makes sense. And if you've faced any of these symptoms, drop a comment below. Your experience might be the exact clue someone else needs. Let's build a smarter driving community, one symptom at a time.